How's it going, everyone? My name is DrapPep. Welcome back to another installment of this series. It almost sounded like I just said another installment. I need to learn how to pronunciate better. Welcome back to another installment of this series. So often I've talked about how much I love Resident Evil, which I do. It's one of my favorite franchises. Outside of Silent Hill and Devil May Cry, Resident Evil is the tip of my favorite franchises, followed by Star Wars. And when I was trying to think back of what was my first really big love for a franchise, I thought about, well, before Resident Evil, clearly it was Star Wars because I grew up with Star Wars. But then I realized Star Wars was not my first franchise I fell in love with. Not even close. Batman was the first franchise I fell in love with. And that blew my mind to realize I loved Batman before I loved Star Wars. It should have been obvious. I mean, every year for Halloween, I used to be Batman. Only once I was Robin, and then I went right back to being Batman again. I used to wear the cape everywhere I go. I was obsessed with Batman. I mean, why wouldn't you? He had the gadgets, the cars. He solved crime. He wore that cool costume. Everyone feared him. He was widely feared by all the criminals. He was the coolest vigilante. And you could easily get me to watch something by saying it was Batman like. I remember my mom would always try to introduce me to new concepts like James Bond. And I'd be like, I don't know if I want to watch James Bond. So, well, he's like Batman, he's got gadgets. Well, that's all you had to say. He's like Batman? Really? I'm in. I want to watch. So we'd watch James Bond, and sure enough, I fell in love with James Bond. He had the cool gadgets, he had the car, he knew a little bit of martial arts. He was like Batman without the suit. I was in. I loved it. And then she'd bring up Dick Tracy, the movie Dick Tracy. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch Dick Tracy. Well, he's like Batman. I'm sold. Put it on. I'm sold. Where's the VHS? I'm ready. Turn on the player. I'm ready to watch some Dick Tracy. You had the watch. That was cool to turn on the watch and be able to communicate with people. This is before Google Watch. And I remember so many people were like, oh, well, that's never going to be a thing. To be able to talk to someone on your watch, no one's ever going to be able to do that. And now, yeah, now, yes, you can on Google Watch, which, by the way, I don't see anyone wearing watches anymore. When I was a kid, all kinds of people wore watches because that's how you were able to tell the time, you know? We didn't have cell phones. There was no way for us to, like, know what time it was unless you had a watch. And one of the most common jokes people used to say when you ask someone, hey, what time is it? Oh, it's time for you to get a watch. So funny. But that was a common joke because everyone had one. You were weird if you did not have a watch. And they had a watch with all kinds of designs. I once had a watch that was a Mickey Mouse watch where the hands and arms were to tell you the time. My favorite watches were digital, to be honest. I still have a digital watch. It's Boba Fett. It's a Boba Fett watch. You touch the top of it, and the image turns into a digital watch. It is really cool. I still think watches are cool. But then again, I'm also a millennial, so of course I would think watches are cool. I kind of want to have a Google Watch, to be honest. I see how many things can come with Google Watches. Like they can check your heart rate for whatever reason you need that. I mean, I can see if you have like heart complications or if you have diabetes, that's a good thing to know what your heart rate is. But for someone who doesn't have either of those problems, um, I, I, I guess it'd just be cool. There's even like a off topic, but there's even a ring that you can have that you put on, and then you can give another ring to someone else, and then they can feel your heartbeat, and vice versa. You can feel their heartbeat, um, which I guess is adorable. You'd be like, oh, her heart rate just sped up. Maybe she's jogging. Maybe she's stressed. Who knows? But I always thought it was kind of cool that Google Watches can monitor your heart rate, and then you could like do calls, like you can FaceTime on your Google Watch. I think you can FaceTime. I've heard other people say you could FaceTime, just like in Dick Tracy with the watch, where you could like he would call other people on his watch. So the earliest, franchise I was obsessed with was Batman. And I had a Batman bed. Do you realize how cool that was to have a Batman bed? Do you realize how disappointed I was when I outgrew my Batman bed? So the whole frame was the Batmobile. I'm not even making this up. The whole frame. So you had the mattress inside of the Batmobile. I have no idea where they got this thing. Some of my earliest memories is of the Batmobile bed. And this is from like the movie Batmobile, like from the with the Joker, the first movie, directed by Tim Burton. And this would have been before I got into Star Wars, way before. So thinking all the way back, the first franchise I got into was DC Comics. It was for Batman. I had a Batman tent. I had Batman rain boots. I had a Batman umbrella. I had Batman pajamas, Batman costumes. I used to put them on all the time, the Batman costumes, to the point where my mom had to like put it away because she's like, oh, you can't wear this all the time. And now look, there's people who wear their costumes all the time. We just call them cosplayers. Respect the drip, Mom. Let me wear my costume. So what? I want to go to school as Batman. No one's going to think I'm weird. Everyone 100% would have thought I was weird, to be honest. She probably saved me from being bullied. If I showed up to school in my Batman uniform, pretending to be Batman, oh, I would have been bullied. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I would have. I used to remember trying to go to the park in my bat suit. It's like, I'm Batman. I used to run up to people and try to get them to play tag. I could not imagine me running up to them in Batman costume. Let's play tag. I'm Batman. Run. I'm it. Run. You're the criminal. Let me catch you. That would not that would not have gone over great. Or maybe it would have. I don't know. I never got a chance to test that theory. I wonder if I could still do that to this day. Just dress up as Batman and run up to complete strangers. Just complete strangers I've never met before. And, they're in the middle of paying their taxes or going grocery shopping. So run. Run. I'm it. I'm going to get you. You better run. That's a great way of getting hurt. Yeah, probably. Probably. I wish that was a norm, though. I wish, like, adults could play tag. I wish we could all just meet up somewhere, like a park or something, and, like, one person's it, and then all of us play tag. I love tag. Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved tag. And I really wish I had a group of people that I can still play tag with. Go to, like, a really large park and play tag. Are you kidding me? We can then have rules. We can be like, oh, that place over there is the safe place, right? The designated safe place. So if you get there, you can stay in that safe place for like 10 seconds. So what would happen is you would run there, you'd stand in the safe place, and the person who's it counts to 10. And then you have to leave once they hit 10. But that was just a way for you to catch your breath, honestly. I also thought hide and tag was the best version of tag because it was hide and seek, but it was also tag. So everyone had to hide, and then you had to go find someone to tag them. So you had to find them first. And then once you did, they still had the chance to run away. And then a lot of times they'd run to the safe place for 10 seconds while they hope you give up. And then you get to run away. The reason why this was even better was because you didn't know who was it. You were hiding. You didn't get to see who got tagged. So you could just easily lie. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not it. I just got away from them. And then tag them. And like, I lied. Now you're it. I once did a version of this with Nerf guns, where we went out and we were shooting each other with Nerf little rubber bullets. And if you got hit, then you were it. And so you had to hand them the gun, and then they had to count to 30 while giving you a chance to run away. So that was kind of cool because if you were not fast, but you were good at shooting a Nerf gun, you can easily get someone else out. And you could be like, oh, you're it now. And then run away. I just, I miss playing tag. I really do. I really wish I can play tag with someone. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll get famous enough to where I can have like fans who want to meet up and sign autographs and take selfies with me. If that day ever comes, we're playing tag, okay? We're all playing tag. The day I meet up at like a convention or something, we're all going to play tag. We're going to get together. I'm going to count to 30. Everyone hides. I have to find someone, and we're going to play tag. That's how we're going to do meet and greets, all right? Meet and greets, we're playing tag. That's the rule, all right? Remember this. That's the rule. If we do a meet and greet, we're all playing tag. That's the rule. But that's going to be it for this episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in.